Hi everyone, this is Marwan.
And I'm Dana.
Today we're speaking about why do we seek happiness instead of contentment. What's the difference between happiness and contentment?
So, happiness is something temporary that we feel, it's a
Okay.
feeling. Contentment is a state that I can feel permanently. Not necessarily permanently, but more on long
Or
term.
long term, exactly. So in other words, happiness is a short term feeling versus contentment, which usually lasts a long time until it's disrupted.
So, the way I look at it is like a drawing. So, happiness has a peak. So, it goes like maybe this and then it goes down. Where can we get happiness from? You listen to a nice song, you got a gift on the day of your birthday, in your graduation, on your wedding day. These kinds of moments that give you that high and it gives you that buzz. Think of it like
It's almost like a drug.
it's like a drug, yeah.
It's momentarily, yes.
Yeah. Contentment, on the other hand, is my well-being, my mental health, or my mental status, my mood status, because moods come and go, right?
Yes.
The way I see it is like there's a baseline for contentment, and then moods come and go. Stress, it comes and goes.
Yeah.
Sadness comes and goes.
Exactly. Anger. everything.
Yeah, so it's like, for example, if we were to look at antonyms, sadness versus depression, what's the difference? Sadness, I'm feeling sad right now, and then I'll feel better later. Depression is a state.
You're right, exactly. Going off of what you said, it's a really great analogy. It's a baseline. Contentment, you should be content no matter where you are, what you're doing, who you're with. Happiness is associated with something or someone,
Yes.
right? So I'm content cutting my vegetables to make a salad. I'm content driving my car, but I'm happy when I get a promotion. I'm happy when food arrives when I'm at a restaurant, but it doesn't mean I'm content. It's slightly separate, detached, but they're kind of associated in a way.
So the point of us bringing this up about seeking happiness versus contentment, you should seek contentment versus happiness 24/7 because you can't get happiness 24/7. You can never have a perfect day. For example, that day is going to end. So if you have a really good day, the next day might not be as good. We tend to always look forward to the next step because that temporary happiness is going to come, and when it goes away, we want to look for the next step of happiness. What does that mean? You need to live in the present. We always talk about the ladder of life, which is when I'm in university, I tell myself, oh, I'm gonna be settled when I start working and earn a salary, for example. Some people wait for certain things or wait to be happy when they're married. Some people wait until they have children. Some people wait until they're more settled in a more comfortable house and so on. Some people wait until they receive a certain promotion. When I get that promotion, I'm going to be happy. So the thing is, you should be enjoying your journey throughout.
Exactly.
So that's why when Marwan was saying about cutting the vegetables, yeah, I'm supposed to be content, not when I'm waiting for my vacation or when I'm waiting for the weekend. These things, you shouldn't wait your entire life for them. I'm waiting my entire life for that vacation, for that honeymoon, for my wedding day. No, these things are what give you the high, but they shouldn't be what your happiness and your contentment is relying on. No matter what state I am, it's about feeling inner peace. It's about loving my living room. If a plan gets cancelled, I still look forward to sitting on my sofa, drinking my tea, having my coffee at home, making my own food. I enjoy going to the grocery shop. I enjoy these simple pleasures in life.
Right.
But when I'm constantly waiting for the weekend, I'm waiting 5 days a week for 2 days in the entire week.
Right.
If you're living for the weekend, are you really living? Because in the end, when I constantly wait for that vacation, it's not going to be a getaway anymore. It's going to be a runaway.
I like that. I want to mention something that you said earlier. When you look for that happiness, it's a small bump in the emotions of highs. You should land on contentment, not on something else. So, in other words, after the high is gone, you should go back to being your content state, which is, okay, the second you close the door to your apartment or your house, you're back to being who you are before you left, before you got the gift, before you met with your friend, before you watched that movie, before you traveled, whatever you did. It's supposed to be peaceful. For me, that's what contentment is. When I'm at peace with whatever I have. I have one perfume versus 10 bottles of perfume. It's the idea of having a few things that make me content versus having one thing that makes me happy. If I don't have anything that makes me happy during one day, I'm still content because I have a lot of things that I'm grateful for, that I'm happy to see.
Exactly, gratitude.
It's the gratitude and being at peace. It's
Yeah.
okay. I didn't get a promotion this year, but I'm doing well at work. I have nice colleagues. I like what I do. I'm living in a nice place. I am in good health. I have so many things, so many little things to focus on that I'm at peace with, that I'm content with, that it's okay if I don't have a happy day. Of course, you should look for things that make you happy, but it shouldn't be the goal. So why do you seek happiness? You should seek contentment.
That's the thing about gratitude. Because when you're constantly waiting for the next thing and waiting for that buzz,
And it doesn't happen.
you forget what you're grateful for. But when every day I don't have those huge expectations, okay, like obviously aim high and all of that, but I'm focusing on the simple pleasures, my everydays. What are my everydays? My home, whoever I'm living with, my job, my school, what I'm studying, these everyday things. And then when I get the vacation, when I get the promotion, these things are gonna be a high and they're gonna put me in a better state, but then I'm gonna focus on the present. And that's why you should focus on yourself, because when you're constantly looking at what other people are doing and you're comparing yourself to other people, you really lose sight of your contentment. What are you grateful for? What are you happy about? This is why reflections are important as well. Before
That's
you
true.
start your day and after you start your day.
I agree with this. And for me, that's why I stopped comparing myself to others. It's not worth it because they're probably going through a high, which is going to go back down. And maybe their contentment level is lower than yours. So maybe you have that advantage.
Maybe they want something
That's
you
the difference.
have
Yeah, that's another thing. Yes, exactly. Focus on what you have. It's the contentment
today.
of today and tomorrow for tomorrow and after tomorrow for after tomorrow. And what you had in the past, the more you count your blessings, the more you realize how at peace you should have been or are at the moment, the happier you'll be.
Yeah,
If
and
that makes sense.
yes, and comparing yourself to others will really make you be harsh on yourself. And you never know, like, the amount of times I would compare myself to someone else, or I would speak to that person and they would tell me, oh, wow, this, that about myself. And I'd be like, oh, really? You have to appreciate yourself. You have to look at your progress. It's not about, reaching something or levels or whatever. And that's why we do link this to our very first ever episode, which was about setting your happiness alongside your goals. Because your goals are important, but if you don't focus on your happiness, or if you rely on those goals for happiness, then this is where it could go wrong. A very typical example, whenever a girl gets married, she gets so sucked into the idea of the white dress and the ring and that wedding day and the pictures, and then she goes on this honeymoon, so it's like this high, like, oh my god, she forgets about her life for like that period and she's so excited. But the reality doesn't start there. The reality starts behind closed doors the minute they land into their new home and they move in. And then it's so easy to get distracted and feel like people now might slowly forget about me and all of that. That's why for me, when we got married, I couldn't wait to move in. I knew the honeymoon and this buzz, it was very temporary, but the real deal started when we went back to our jobs, when we moved in, when we bought the furniture, and I was really enjoying that part, even though it's very natural that some things are stressful, oh, I want to get this for the house, or how we were splitting responsibilities, but this is the real deal. Are you content with this person? How do you know this person is right? When you're living your daily life, when you're waiting for them after work, when you're having your first ever dinner with them, and then it becomes a daily thing.
Yeah.
And that's why COVID changed a lot of things in our lives when the pandemic hit. Because I saw a lot of people who did not care. They got married no matter what because they wanted to get married. They knew they wouldn't have a honeymoon or a big wedding or a destination wedding or anything like that. And of course, the same thing with everything else. Like, anything new is exciting. The trick is when you get used to that new.
And it becomes old.
Yeah.
You shouldn't allow yourself to think, this is old, I'm bored of it, and I should look for another new exciting feeling or experience or whatever it may be. You should be okay with it being okay. when you first buy your phone, first time you unlock it, it's not the same as it is maybe even a week later. You get used to it, you get used to the swiping, controls, whatever it may be. And the second the new update or the new device is out, you're running to buy it because that's going to give you an instant gratification for about a week or two, a month. You know, we see a lot of people that are content with their lives, that they have old phones, old cars. They don't have the newest of things. They don't have the trendiest clothes or devices because they're just content with whatever they can. And they do have the monetary support and finance to do so. But it's just a matter of it's a mindset. If you program yourself to be content, no matter where you are, what you're doing, who you're with, these trivial things, they don't affect your contentment. They affect your happiness states and sadness, ups and downs. If you lose a phone, you might be sad, of course, because you lost something that is dear to you, it's important, it's valuable. After that feeling is gone, that sadness is gone, and you're back up to contentment, you're okay. It's not going to stay down. You know, you lose a friend, you're not going to stay down for the rest of your life. You have to go back to being content with whatever you have, however you are. Because, again, if you control that, I promise you, you can control your anger levels, you can control your sadness levels, you can control when you're happy, where you're happy,
what gets you
happy. And by the way, ever since I started practicing this, I noticed that if I mess up at work, or if I do something that I shouldn't have done, or if I do get happy at times, I remind myself this is temporary. Don't make decisions when you're happy, and don't make decisions when you're sad.
Yeah, and don't make promises when you're happy.
That's what I meant to say, exactly. Because it's temporary, it will fade, no matter what you do. It's fascinating when you think about it this way, because you realize that contentment is the real happiness that we're seeking for.
Yeah, and satisfaction. Are you satisfied?
Yeah.
You don't have to be happy. And that's why it's so important to feel things. If something made me mad, I have to feel it. I shouldn't run away and just go seek happiness. Let me go to the mall and shop and forget about it, or let me go on a quick trip. You're gonna come back and then you have to face this feeling. And if you keep it inside, this isn't really solving the issue. But when you get closure, you'll go through this hiccup, you feel it, and then you can get over it, and then you can close it, and then you can start a new page. But again, this is why sometimes we tend to run away, because it's the easier choice.
Of course.
I'll deal with my anger and my sadness in a different way.
Right.
By running away.
And by all means, this is not an easy thing to do. Of course, you have to program yourself, you have to convince yourself that this is all temporary. Inner peace, satisfaction, gratitude, contentment. These words are keywords for me, not happiness.
Yeah.
I'm happy being with you, of course, but I'm way more content being with you here than at the Bahamas, drinking virgin mojitos. You know, I'm content no matter where we are together. That's the idea.
Yeah, and it's very normal, because there are so many things that I wish I had, or we wish we had together, or whatever, and not everything works out, but we really didn't let that get to us because we focused on the bigger picture.
Yes. For me, it's hope for happiness, but expect contentment.
Yeah, I look forward to having breakfast every day. You know, it's these little pleasures for me. I genuinely look forward to having that cup of tea in the morning.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get really excited over which coffee I'm gonna have.
Yeah.
You know, you'll think it's so trivial, it's so menial, but it's a daily thing, and I look forward to it. And it also makes me appreciate the way bigger things when I have an event, when something happens in the weekend. And the other thing is, in the lockdown, some people were like, this is the best thing ever, and some people went crazy. And those who were like, oh, this is the best thing ever, because they were happy in their houses, they were happy with their families, and I wish that upon everybody. At the same time, you know, some people really didn't mind and had inner peace to do the same thing over and over and over again until they were allowed to leave their houses. And don't you think this connects motivation versus commitment? Like, for example, some people get so excited to sign up for the gym, and the first 3 days they're on that high, and yes, I'm gonna. But then, you know, they start feeling like, oh my God, it's like a task now, because they don't have that commitment. But then why don't they have that commitment? It's because they were just excited at the beginning, but they weren't enjoying their everyday training, because they're waiting for the results. And when they realized the results are taking long, there isn't the instant gratification, this period of patience and perseverance becomes such a burden. But when you're not just focused on the results, you care about the results, you put down those results, but you care about the journey rather than the result, you will really be way more motivated, way more committed, and you'll just enjoy it and you'll have that contentment.
I totally agree. That's a very good point of view. If you want to expand that thought, maybe that's why some businesses fail.
Yeah.
They're too focused on the profit versus the operation of their activity. So if someone opens a cafe, he's not enjoying opening the door to that cafe and seeing that this is my design, this is my place, I'm renting it out to, not necessarily to profit, because he likes operating a cafe. He wants to have people in his own vicinities, in his own bubble, that they're reading, they're meeting friends, they're working, and he's serving them food, making them happy, creating memories in his place. Thanks to him, they'll always remember him in his place. It's the whole thing
It's the
together.
experience,
It's the experience.
the journey. Look how far I've gone.
Right, versus someone who wants money, money, money because I want to be rich, or I want to open another branch because I want to be the best cafe in the country, or whatever it is. It's a mentality. I go back to what I said earlier. It's a mentality. So if you're happy making 10 riyals profit or 10 dirhams profit a day and not becoming a rich guy in 10 years or whatever, just because you have that place and you enjoy it, you're a content person.
If you really care that you made one customer happy, this is going to give you contentment and happiness, versus just caring about the result that you're after, which will take years and which will take patience. Because the thing about commitment is that when you're committed to something, you're committed to its ups and downs.
Yes.
You're not committed to the result. You're committed, you're signing, a verbal agreement or a contract, a mental contract, that I'm in this to experience the ups and downs, I might experience failure, I will experience hiccups, and I know I will,
Of course.
but I'm going to be positive throughout the journey.
Thank you. And you mentioned failure. That's the biggest key, is that no one can guarantee success in whatever venture someone takes or undergoes. You should expect hiccups, as you said. So if I fail after 1 day, 1 year, 10 years of starting this business, I should be content. I should be proud that I tried. I should be happy. I'm grateful for the opportunity, because some people don't have that opportunity to even begin a project, to establish something of their own.
Yeah.
So it's important to be content at all times with whatever you have. We feel pain and pleasure for a reason. You're not supposed to be happy all the time. You're not supposed to be sad all the time. So what's in the middle? Contentment. It's the state. It's a long state. Happy, oof. Sad,
Yeah.
but then you have to go back to being content with everything else that you have.
Which also has to be consistent.
Right. If anything, it should get even higher and higher and higher with the amount of things you're content with. So maybe I wasn't content with the car that I have, but once I realized that, wow, I actually own a car. This is mine. I'm now more content with what I have. So it reaches a point where if you're detached from all worldly things, you'll realize whatever happens, happens. Not carelessly, but just peace. You're at peace and serenity with everything.
Yeah, you're not easily triggered, you're not easily
No.
agitated, you're not moody. So to conclude, as we said, contentment is more important, satisfaction is more important, inner peace, all of these are more important than just happiness, because happiness is a mood. Contentment is a state.
Yes, thank you. That's very, very down to the point. All right, so let us know what you guys think. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.